My name is Michelle, I'm 23 years old. I'm a somewhat famous former model. I married Nick, a dentist, in what you might call a fairy tale wedding. But Nick's eyes wandered soon after. He got his mistress pregnant. I'm sending over 3 truckloads of stuff to our new place, where I'll be living with pregnant Lisa, he said with a smug laugh. Nick had finally gotten his dream of living in a prime location high-rise condo. I'll live there with them. You can go sleep on the streets. He can only say that for now. Little does he know what's happening with that condo? Yes, but I'm about to reveal a shocking truth to Nick and Lisa. Nick was floored by the announcement. Serves him right. Let's take a look back at how we got here, starting with our first encounter. Can I get some sparkling wine? I handed over a glass of wine on a tray. Wait, aren't you Michelle, the model? I've seen you in magazines. Wow, you do this kind of work too? Can't make a living off modeling alone. Then, how about I make it so you can? Excuse me? 3 months after that conversation, Nick and I were married. It was such a whirlwind wedding that everyone around us was shocked and confused. It was a marriage that happened without waiting for a pregnancy. You should quit showbiz. I don't want other men ogling your photos. Is that jealousy? No. Well, yeah, I guess. You're blushing. We had such lovey-dovey conversations in our newlywed days. I did retire from showbiz, as Nick wanted. Nick worked as a dentist in a practice that had been in his family since his grandfather's time. He earned far more than most men his age. Is it okay to eat out every day? Well, you're not great at cooking, Michelle. Hard work doesn't always mean tasty. It's much more efficient to eat delicious food out. But we're saving up right now, right? For our dream home. Yeah, a high-rise condo is a symbol of wealth. I want to live there with you, Michelle. Worst comes to worst, we could always sell the sports car. I wonder if it's okay for me to live this lavishly. Sometimes I get anxious. Don't worry, I'm confident I can make you happy. Nick used to say cheesy lines like that, but his flirting became more and more extravagant. I've given Nick a hard time about it, but he never listens to me, said Ken, Nick's brother and the head of the clinic, when he visited our home. Nick and Ken lived in the condos above and below each other, gifted by their father. Ken was always on my side. But that wasn't the only reason I often confided in him. Still, I was surprised when Nick fell head over heels for you, Michelle, and married you so quickly. You must mean a lot to him, to make such a decision. But that doesn't mean he should play around. I'm living a good life, so I don't want to nag too much. But he's more of a playboy than I thought. Why would he choose to marry? If he were single, he could play around as much as he liked. Nick seems like the least suitable person for marriage. Do you regret marrying Nick? He's almost 30, it's about time he settled down and started his own family. Oh, but here I am, 32 and still single, talking about this. I was swept away by Nick's assertiveness, and before I knew it, we were married. Of course, I have feelings for him. Ken always patiently listened to my one-sided complaints. He became like a real brother to me. Oh, Lisa? What's up all of a sudden? I'm glad you haven't blocked me, Michelle. Congratulations on your marriage. I'd like to bring over a gift and visit your home. Don't worry about it. Lisa and I were colleagues from the same agency, but we weren't particularly close. I was at that party, you know? Which party are you talking about? The party where you met your husband. And what of it? Maybe I could have been the one to marry him. I have no idea what you're trying to say. I'd like to meet the man Michelle chose. Please let me visit. And so, Lisa brazenly showed up at our home. Your place is so nice. Spacious, well-lit, and sunny. My dad gifted it to us, but it feels a bit cramped for a family. I want at least 2 kids, and this place just isn't enough for that. Wow, but it looks like it has 3 bedrooms and a living room, right? That seems plenty to me. We're planning to buy a unit on the upper floors of a prime location high-rise soon. Lisa, you should come over there too. It's way more spacious and open. You can see the city lights perfectly from the windows. We're planning to import all the furniture from overseas. Amazing! You doctors really know how to live. I'm so jealous of you, Michelle. I want to hear all about your lovey-dovey life today. Seeing Lisa smiling at Nick gave me the creeps. She had that look in her eyes like she wouldn't let go of her prey. I'm not sure if it's to your taste, but... As I served tea and baked goods, is this made by you, Michelle? She asked immediately. Knowing full well I can't cook, let alone bake. Nick says I don't have to cook. This marmalade is a limited edition made by a famous pastry chef. How's that? Please, don't treat me like I'm someone special. We're friends, aren't we? I want to hear about your days as a model, Michelle. Really, can I talk about it? Did you have to, get involved with important people to get jobs? Nick suddenly became very interested in a risque topic. Some girls do that. But it's not that simple to get jobs. It's hard to predict what will make you popular. Michelle was one of the more successful ones in our agency. I knew about her, after all. You didn't know about me, did you? Sorry about that. It's okay, as long as you get to know me now. Can you introduce me to some of your friends? Something like a mixer would be fine. Being a not-so-successful model, I don't get many chances to meet people. If they're friends of Nick, they must be good people. Please? If I bring Lisa to a mixer, everyone will be after her. Not at all. It seemed this was Lisa's plan all along. Seeing my Cinderella-like marriage, she wanted to ride on my coattails. In the end, Lisa and Nick exchanged contact information, seemingly concluding her mission for the day. I realized it after seeing Lisa's social media. She had recently acquired a boyfriend, or so she informed me via email. I hadn't heard about Nick being involved. Yet, there it was, Nick's luxury watch in her social media posts. There were also photos taken from the passenger seat of a car, clearly Nick's car. So she's flaunting it, huh? That's pretty blatant. It'll lead to her being found out immediately. Nick likes unique, limited edition items, so it's likely he has things no one else does. Anyway, I feel bad you had to come all the way here. No, it's no trouble at all. It only takes 30 seconds to get here. But it's better to meet at my place to keep it from Nick. I was at Ken's place upstairs. I've done some digging, and it was quite easy to find evidence. Lisa, right? She's quite carefree. I had consulted Ken about Nick and Lisa. Then Ken said he'd take care of it, having asked an acquaintance's investigation firm to look into it, and now he had the results. She's clearly underestimating you, Michelle. Or maybe she's doing it on purpose. Probably on purpose. Did you do something to make her hold a grudge? Not at all. We weren't that close to begin with. Probably, she's just envious that I married Nick. Neither of us was a top-selling model, and she's probably bitter that I ended up in a better situation. Lisa was also working as a companion at the party where Nick and I met. She thinks if she had been closer to Nick first, he might have chosen her. It's not really about that. From the photos I've seen, Lisa isn't Nick's type at all. She wouldn't be chosen as a wife, just a mistress at best. Nick is oblivious, though. Despite her obvious desperation, Nick doesn't see it. He's simple and trusts people easily. What's in the investigation? Ken laid out several photos on the table. Pictures of them entering and leaving a hotel. They seemed to be involved physically. Ken might have said it casually, but knowing they were physically involved was tough. There's more conclusive evidence. Ken was checking on my mental state. Tell me. We got audio of Nick and Lisa. Really, Michelle is so clueless. Nick and I meet up so often and do stuff we shouldn't, and she hasn't noticed a thing. Well, no one would expect someone to sneak out of work to go to a motel in broad daylight. But what excuse do you give your brother to sneak out? I don't schedule any appointments an hour before and after my break. My brother doesn't manage my appointments, and as long as I don't inconvenience the patients, he doesn't say anything. It's good I'm free. Even if I have work, I'll prioritize Nick. But I want to meet at night too. The only excuse I could think of is attending dental conferences. But those aren't frequent, and usually, my brother, the clinic owner, attends them. I want to stay over. Well, I'll try to find some reason. Just mention some conference or research, and since Michelle isn't knowledgeable about that, she'll be fooled. I want to go to Hawaii for a trip. I want to see the ocean. Hawaii? I wonder if we can make such a long trip. Hawaii is just a flight away. If we're gonna go, might as well make it memorable, right? It'll be great. Lisa's sugary voice made me want to vomit. Is Nick really fooled by such an obvious woman? In the end, are men just simple creatures that fall for this type? Hey, Nick, can you lend me another $1,000? Again? I just lent you $600 the day before yesterday. I want something. What more could you want? Lisa's place is practically filled with clothes. There's hardly any space for both of us to sleep, and you still want more? I want to. I've made it a rule never to wear the same outfit twice. And you already have so many designer bags and accessories, right? Is modeling really that lucrative? Michelle hardly had any savings. Michelle used to spend a lot too. Mostly earned from going to parties for appearance fees, and then. What are you hinting at? I wonder if I should say this. Nick might be shocked. What is it? Stop beating around the bush. Michelle used to get jobs through physical means. That's why she was one of the more successful ones in our agency. She even got 4 pages exclusively in a magazine, and it really turned others off. To be slandered like this. It's one thing to want to bring someone down, but spreading lies is the lowest. That's why I feel so bad for Nick. He married such an awful woman. Nick is such a kind person, completely deceived by Michelle. I can't forgive her for making Nick feel this way. I found myself crying at some point. Are you okay? Yeah, that was a bit of a shock, huh? Then Nick came in, saying about that thing the other day. Seeing me cry and being comforted by Ken, he asked, "What's going on here? What are you two doing? Is that what's happening? I see how it is. Nice one, brother and Michelle. Becoming brothers in arms this way. What are you talking about? That's disrespectful to Michelle. Your defensiveness makes it even more suspicious. Going between the condos above and below must have been quite the thrill. This is a first for me, such humiliation." Nick stormed off in anger. Maybe it was because of me. Even if it's my husband's brother, going to single Ken's place could lead to misunderstandings. Are you okay? I'll explain to Nick. Then, we can confront him about what he's done. Michelle is the victim here. Now's not the right time. We'll wait a bit longer. When we do confront him, we'll do it thoroughly. Ken, please continue the investigation. From that day on, Nick started spending more time away from home. Misunderstanding about mine and Ken's supposed affair, he seemed to adopt a then I'll do as I please attitude. Likely, he was spending that time with Lisa. Michelle? Guess where I am right now? Hawaii, for a photo shoot. Suddenly got a gig for a weekly magazine's shoot. So what? Seems like my current boyfriend is a good luck charm. One good thing after another, both work and personal life are going great. That's nice for you. Is that all you called for? Please pass a message to Nick. Why don't you just message or call him yourself? Nick, you're in the middle of seeing patients, right? There's something urgent I need to tell you. I'm pregnant. Of course, it's your baby. Don't lie, there's no way a pregnant woman could do a shoot. It's being marketed as my last shoot before motherhood. There's even a maternity nude shoot planned for when I'm about 8 months pregnant. I'll be giving birth to the dental heir before Michelle does. Honestly, Michelle is unnecessary now. She got too comfortable with her cushy life after marrying into money and slacked off on self-improvement. There's a reason why some people are chosen, you know. I hung up the phone unilaterally. Lisa is pregnant, what does that mean? Is Nick seriously planning to marry Lisa? Lisa called. She said she's pregnant. What? Seriously? How can he be happy about his mistress's pregnancy in front of his wife? It seems like it's time for us to have a serious talk. You always run away when I try to discuss our future, but we can't avoid it any longer. We can't go on like this. So, Michelle wants to divorce me quickly to be with my brother, huh? That's why you're rushing things. How many times do I have to tell you? I've been consulting Ken about Nick and Lisa, trying to gather information. You're just running away because you don't want to face your own infidelity. I'll divorce you. I have my pride, too. Nick, it's time for you to make a decision. A week later, I came home to find Nick on the phone, speaking loudly. I listened in without making a sound. Really? Can it be bought that cheaply? Davis, you say? He's a real estate agent? Wow, that's impressive. What's your relationship with Lisa? Oh, a fan of hers. It's nice of you to introduce such a good person, thanks. I know nothing about real estate, so it's reassuring to have a pro handle it. Down payment? I've got $100,000 ready. We'll decide on the monthly mortgage payments after consultation. Yeah, within a reasonable range. Right, now that we've got the house, we'll need furniture and appliances. Thinking of getting the furniture from France. Is Lisa coming along? But is it okay for a pregnant woman to take a long flight? Eh? What about Michelle? Of course, I'll divorce her. I can only think about Lisa and the baby now. But just serving divorce papers is boring. I have a plan, leave it to me. Take care of yourself, Lisa. Oh, so I just wait for a call from Davis? It seems Nick's plans to purchase a prime high-rise condo are progressing. Whatever his plan, I began preparing my countermove. Being in my room again might cause misunderstandings with Nick, you know? Are you sure? We can't just sit around. We need to think about how to make the divorce work in our favor. It's embarrassing to get divorced less than a year into marriage. It disappoints my parents and makes a joke out of the marriage everyone envied. So, is it true? Nick's buying a high-rise? Yes, a few days after overhearing his phone conversation, I found the contract in Nick's room. But something doesn't feel right. It seems too cheap. I'm not well-versed in these matters, so I want Ken to look into it. That's fine, but are you okay mentally? Don't push yourself too hard. A man swayed by a typical woman like Lisa is not worth it. Even if Nick marries Lisa, he'll start playing around soon and end up divorcing again. His womanizing is practically a disease. It's funny how different you and your brother are, Ken. You're serious, dedicated to your work, and respect women. Having the status of a doctor and some money makes it too easy to get carried away and adored. Nick is just riding high. He'll regret it someday. A month passed with each of us harboring our own motives. Then Nick took action. I'm sending over 3 truckloads of stuff to our new place in the high-rise, where I'll be living with Lisa and our future child. You can go live on the streets. Here it comes. Yes, but... What? I can't hear you. What are you saying? You don't want to divorce me now? It's too late. I'm going to live happily in the high-rise with Lisa and our child. You're no longer needed. You were just a trophy wife anyway. Your job was to look pretty and be shown off without doing any housework. I guess I spoke too softly, so I'll say it louder now. The high-rise Nick bought doesn't actually exist. What? Are you out of your mind? You still hung up on me, huh? Did you actually check the apartment? Of course, I did a walkthrough, signed the contract, and paid the down payment. Jealous of me and Lisa? How pathetic. The apartment you saw, was it definitely the one you were supposed to move into? It was a model unit. They said the actual apartment was under construction, so they showed me one just like it. Did you read the contract thoroughly? What's with you, so annoying? I've got to go sort up the moving boxes, so I'm hanging up now. The real estate agent, Davis, who brokered the deal, got arrested for fraud. What? Nick seemed at a loss for words. What are you talking about, spreading rumors? I got his business card and everything. He was a polite and kind man. Must be someone else with the same name. Then go to the high-rise right now. The 3 truckloads of our stuff are just sitting out on the street. What, you gonna sell them as junk? That's a lot of stuff. What? What does that mean? Nick started to panic. Without hanging up, he hopped into a taxi, headed for the supposed new high-rise. I was already standing in front of the high-rise, wanting to see everything for myself. Nick! Look at this! Lisa, who had already arrived, was shouting. Why are our belongings out here? Nick was stunned by the sight of their belongings lined up along the road. Nick, you've been scammed. The agent, Davis, conspired with the real estate company to make fake deals and pocketed the down payments and deposits. It was on the news just now. They scammed $20 million. Are you so well informed because you're behind this? Planning revenge on me from the start, in cahoots with everyone? What? Why would I bother with such a complicated, troublesome scheme? Besides, it was Lisa who introduced Davis. Suspect her before me. Then Nick and Lisa started arguing. I didn't know anything about it either. If I had, I wouldn't have introduced him. He was just a pure fan of mine, supporting me. When he heard my boyfriend was buying a high-rise, he said he could get us a deal. What about my $1 million? I've been working to the bone with the goal of buying a high-rise in a prime location. All that hard work for nothing. Let's just move the stuff back to the current apartment. Michelle, you need to leave right now. Too bad, I've already left. I had your father cancel the lease on the apartment. So, there's no apartment? How does it feel, seeing the man you stole looking so pathetic? The swift downfall of Lisa's dream of a lavish life. Nick is a dentist, you know? He can still earn plenty in the future. Oh, I forgot to tell Nick something important from Ken. He's firing you. Fired? Nick's bad reputation with women is well known in the neighborhood, and other dentists avoid him. So, I doubt any local dental practices will hire Nick. But you can't really leave him, right? Since there's a baby on the way. How about that? All this for something you wanted so badly? There was no need to go after my husband, but it seems you've always been competitive with me for no reason. To me, you were just one of many juniors. Michelle was just lucky, not talented. She got cocky over a 4-page spread in a magazine. Even her TV assistant gigs got no attention, and just when people thought she might go nude, she married a dentist. Living a comfortable, victorious life. But how fragile it all was, crumbling over something so trivial. So, Lisa, are you prepared to stick with Nick through everything that comes next? No matter what? Of course. We're having a baby. We wouldn't marry irresponsibly, not like someone. What? I was the one Nick fell for and forcefully married. Unlike Lisa, who aggressively pursued him, I was the only one who took him seriously. You had to use pregnancy as your weapon. Good luck with your long life ahead, Nick and the baby. Feeling relieved to have finally spoken my mind. The information about the real estate agent, Davis, came from Ken. It felt like karma. A kind of poetic justice. But now that Nick is fired, can the clinic still operate? It must be too much for Ken alone, right? I decided to meet Ken at a cafe outside to thank him properly. That's because my dad, who had retired, got all fired up and came back to work. He and I are planning to hire another dentist before he's completely worn out. You know, the dental is pretty old, right? When I told Dad I wanted to upgrade everything to the latest equipment, he said, why not go for it? So, we decided to close for a week and get everything updated. After that, Nick and Lisa sent a ton of their stuff to my parents' house, planning to move in there without permission, right? But I heard my parents didn't let Nick in because they couldn't face Michelle. Exactly, my dad and mom felt really sorry for you. They even gave me more than the usual amount of alimony. It was supposed to be Nick's responsibility, but as parents, they felt obligated. So, Nick ended up crashing at Lisa's studio apartment. He lost his motivation to work and just lazed around at home. Then Lisa got fed up and kicked him out. Right, why would Lisa need Nick after he lost his money, house, and job? She was only after his status and wealth. Without those, Nick was useless to her. But then the baby happened. Considering the future, Lisa couldn't just leave, so she really drew the short straw. A year later, Nick and Lisa had long since split up, and Lisa returned to her parents' house to have the baby. She aimed to return to work, targeting the mommy influencer path. However, she gained a lot of weight during pregnancy, her figure changed, and she gave up on returning to the entertainment industry. After divorcing Nick, I made a comeback in the entertainment world. Sharing my divorce experience on TV humorously, it went viral. This boosted my visibility as Michelle. Now, I'm set to grace magazine covers and publish a photo book.